ready. Welcome into Jones and Keefe, WEEI. No Jones today or tomorrow. He is back on Wednesday. It's been a while since I've been in, so it is good to be back. Justin Turpin is in the house.
What up?
Pure baseball with Turp.
Let's do it.
To start the show, it is a Patriots Monday, so you already heard Mike Vrabel on this morning. We will speak to Hunter Henry and Christian Ellis. Drake May will be in the afternoon program. I believe sometime after 4 o'clock for Drake May. And Marcus Jones as well. So stick around. But Rob Bradford will be in the house from 11 to 1. He was just in Yankee Stadium for the last 4 games as the Red Sox took 3 out of 4 from the Yanks and pretty much snatched their souls. I mean, that was a decisive victory. They couldn't complete the sweep. Ended on a little bit of a downer. But those first 3 games, Terp, was all Red Sox, and it was equally fun watching the Red Sox play well as it was the Yankees fall apart on themselves.
Yeah, I mean, you wish they got greedy and got the final sweep there. It hadn't been done since 1912, the year the Titanic set sail.
Look at this!
Fenway Park opened that year, so
he
it would have
spent
been
this
nice.
entire morning just in Stat City.
What an incredible drop. Terp with a Titanic reference at 10:03.
That's how long it's been. It was almost that close. It would have been wonderful. But
the year that Fenway was built? No.
Probably the year it opened.
It
was probably built before.
Yeah.
It opened in 1912.
Probably the aliens built Fenway. Thinking about it.
Still looks the same.
So, Fenway and the pyramids.
They haven't had. Yeah, I think so. They're both great monuments. So, there's a 4-game sweep in Yankee Stadium.
In Yankee Stadium, yeah. So it's tied their longest since 2008 or 2009, one of the two.
Pretty crazy.
With 8 straight.
Pretty crazy. And so I love the way the Thursday-Friday games go where you get Whitlock and Chapman just as like shut down 8th, 9th, and then you move on to Saturday's game, which was hilarious watching the Yankees fall apart because all year long, as good as the Red Sox have been, and they're the current number 1 wild card team, we've still scratched our heads with some of the dumb things that they've done, whether it's like, running into outs or missing cutoff men and like throwing the ball around, and you're just like, you're frustrated with them. But the Yankees are like a full display meltdown on Saturday.
You also expect that from the Red Sox. Like, this is a young team. Like, there should be growing pains with a young team when you have all these younger rookie players in the lineup. With the Yankees, it's a team full of veterans. Guys, those teams in the World Series last year, it looks like they forget how to play baseball.
It is weird to see them play that way. Aaron Boone's another guy that I'm like, I don't know if he's just going to be there.
What dirt does he have on them?
Forever? Like, They've had Brian Cashman for as long as I can remember running the show, and then they've had so Aaron Boone's first year was actually 2018. Feels like longer, doesn't it?
It does, much longer.
Oh, maybe I thought he was, because every year, and they've been pretty good, but obviously last year was the first year they made it to the World Series, losing to the Dodgers. So then they signed him to an extension, so he's going to be there for a little bit. And yesterday is an example of the Yankees at Yankee Stadium can be tough because that is like a little league field and they're just socking dingers all over the place. So they are capable of that. That's why home field is going to be so important. If this ends up being a playoff matchup, which it definitely could be,
would be awesome.
Whoever has home field, you got to assume has the advantage. And usually home field in baseball isn't the be all end all like college football or college basketball is. But for these two teams specifically, I think it would be all the difference.
I mean, the Red Sox have been one of the best teams in baseball at home. So, you definitely want that comforts of Fenway. And you saw last night, like you said, just them being able to sock dingers out of that park.
That's great.
When the Yankees are hitting home runs, I mean, this applies to every team, but the Yankees especially, when that team's hitting home runs, they're really tough to beat.
100%. The Red Sox are 8-2 against the Yankees this year.
Incredible.
In 10 games. They've absolutely owned the Yankees. They do have 3 more games against them next month back here at Fenway on the 12th, 13th, and 14th. So they have dominated. Even if they get swept in that series, they still win the season series with them. They want to stay above them in the wild card race. I've kind of ruled out the division. They're 5 games back of the Blue Jays. I've kind of let that one go a little bit. But dominating the Yankees the way they have is great. Also, in this series, Brayan Bello on Friday night threw an absolute gem. And I believe that leads to the Terp stat of the week.
It does, yeah. It's time for a conversation about Brayan Bello.
Yes, it is.
Since June 1st, he leads the American League in quality starts with 12. He's second in all of Major League Baseball over that stretch behind just Christopher Sanchez. And his ERA from June 1st is 2.75. Just for a reference point, Garrett Crochet's a 2.66.
Jeez.
So the guy has been incredible, and it hasn't even just been this last 2-month stretch here. 14 of his 22 starts this year have been quality starts. He's one of only 25 pitchers to reach that mark, and For those listening that don't know the quality start, they have to pitch the pitcher goes at least 6 innings, allows 3 earned runs or fewer. But the
Told you,
guy's
pure
been
baseball.
terrific.
Pure baseball with Turp. No, that's wild on Bello, because that's somebody that I have not ever fully believed in, and it probably is time.
Even this year, people were hesitant to
right.
buy in on him, and it's just like this is who he is now. And maybe it is credit to the Andrew Bailey pitching lab that they got him in. And
Yeah,
this
guess.
is a career year, and he seems more comfortable. He's been pretty open about it. Having his family here has been big for him. Cora's talked about that as well. But I mean, if you're going to get this and him developing into a legitimate number 2, it's just been so big for this team. Oftentimes overlooked because you're getting guys like Roman Anthony contributing, in Trevor Story. It's just so many people are contributing to this team. It's like you're not really looking at Brayan Bello the way people maybe should be.
Bradford had a tweet yesterday, and it felt like it was an attack on me because it was very, very specific. He said Brayan Bello was 185 pounds when he made his big league debut. He is now 203 pounds. I think that legitimately mirrors me. I think when I first started in radio, I was 185. I'm probably 203 now. Difference being, Bello put on muscle weight. I put on just fat beer weight. So that's the big difference.
It's all the same.
But
Pounds
again,
are pounds.
height and weight were probably pretty similar. But no, Brayan Bello has been, and Nick even pointed this out, like 10 games into this season, he was really good in the second half last year, right? So it's been over a full season. If you add the two together, it's been actually even more good Brayan Bello than not. And I don't know, because maybe it was all like the baby Pedro stuff and like all like the early, like he's going to be the guy, he's going to be the guy. And then last year, you're like, Tanner Houck's better than him. Cutter Crawford's better than him. And then obviously those guys have been hurt. We haven't even seen them. But Bello's been nails. And going into Yankee Stadium, 7 scoreless innings, 3 hits, 1 walk, 5 Ks.
Historically, he owns the Yankees.
He owns them. Yeah, he's been awesome. But this whole year, and then to your point too, Terp, about the quality starts and how many guys have that, and even if you just take his season ERA, so forget about since June 1st or whatever, he is, of qualifying pitchers, starters, 16th in baseball, right behind Joe Ryan and Brian Wu.
Pretty good.
Like, that's insane. Everybody, we're going crazy, myself included, to like try to get Joe Ryan. They don't get him. He doesn't go anywhere. Brian Wu is leading the Mariners pitching staff, which everybody looks at as like one of the great staffs this year. He was an all-star, and somebody that gets thrown around there, like, he's not going to win the Cy Young, but he's going to be in like the conversation for the Cy Young. And he's like right behind those guys. And he's even thrown more innings than nope, I checked that. He has not. He's closing in on Joe Ryan innings, for God's sake. So like he's right there with those guys.
And he's not, when you're looking at the starts, he's not getting credit for what he did when he picked up the resumed game against the Reds in early July.
Oh yeah, good point.
When he came in through midway through the game was suspended to the rain. He picked it up in the 4th inning, through 5 innings, allowed 2 hits, one run or whatever it was. Like he was terrific in that game as well.
Yeah, he's been off the charts. So you feel pretty good. And then Garrett Crochet went out and had another gem. So
Right.
Crochet and Bello as a 1-2 punch. Maybe
the Bello thing is pretty funny because remember in the clubhouse when he was talking about Connor Wong, and he's like, I have more than a 2-seamer, dude.
Every time
and
he's friends with
you and
like
I, you and I
2-seamer.
were convinced that it was like maybe Connor Wong just doesn't call a good game. Connor Wong basically only catches Bello starts.
those guys are best
He
buds,
was
maybe.
huge on Friday night as well.
I know.
Had that big RBI knock.
It's true. Well, Jones and I were at the game where he started to really hit some stingers.
You guys turned it around.
He had a double. He had his first extra base hit of the season, and then he hit a couple right on the screws. Right on the screws. Now they were outs, but he was turning things around. But no, a very positive weekend series, even though it ended on a loss last night for the Red Sox. Lucas Giolito, how are we feeling about Lucas Giolito at this point?
I mean, he's another
friend of
one.
the show, Lucas Giolito. I should
Hoss of
point
the
out.
week.
And and reigning Hoss of the week.
Big dude. I don't even think he was necessarily bad in his start earlier this week. I don't think he was necessarily bad. And I mean, he's another one that's just giving you quality start after quality start for this team. And I mean, the reality is if the Red Sox are going to make any noise in the postseason, it's going to be because of Bello and Giolito continue to pitch the way they have. And you mentioned it earlier with Bello, and I think the same thing applies to Giolito, where people were so hesitant to buy in on what they're selling. And it seems like, this is who they are this year. And maybe, again, he's another product possibly of the Andrew Bailey pitching lab.
He might be because, last year they, they signed him. He's got to sit out the whole year, comes back this year. And then didn't he get hurt in spring training again,
Yes.
right? And you're like, what is even happening with this guy? But no, he overall has been really good and way better than I would have guessed. Now, after the game on Thursday, his season ERA is 3.72. Not amazing. I'm going to throw a parade for him. I think ideally he might be your number 4 starter. I still go back to that. I'm not going to let Breslow off the hook for the trade deadline. Like, they should have done more than what they did. But Brayan Bello, being as good as he is, might bail him out a little bit. Like, you might not have been able to get a number 2 starter better than Brayan Bello.
And you know what really might bail him out at the trade deadline is Nathaniel Lowe, who has
Yeah,
just
my
been
God, this
terrific.
guy
And we have
just
stats on
smokes
him,
the ball.
too, if you want some more pure baseball.
Yeah, I obviously do.
So 6 games, really small sample size.
Okay.
But 20 plate appearances. He's reached safely in 10 of those with 7 hits and 3 walks.
Jeez.
438 average, slugging 750. Team high 7 RBI since getting here. 1 strikeout in 20 plate appearances.
1 strikeout.
And this is a guy who played a big role in a World Series just a couple years ago with Texas. I mean,
Yeah.
the fact that they were able to pick him up off the trash heap and just get him in and have a competent first baseman in this lineup is huge.
Yeah, it really is. And I thought they were going to make a game of it, too. So he comes in, he pinch hits last night.
Yep.
He had 2 hits in the game. He had 2 RBI. And in the 6th inning, after being down 5-0, it was 5-2. And
Yeah.
I was like, oh, look out. Look out. Maybe we have a little something. But yeah, good point. Like, that definitely was not plan A, B, or C, and yet they land on this guy. And
But you needed a first baseman, and you got one. I know he kind of fell on your lap, but that does bring the grade of the trade deadline up a little bit, I would think, right?
Yeah, I guess. Now, another player you acquired at the deadline was Dustin May, who still is the favorite to be the show's Halloween costume coming up. But, yeah, not a great start for Dustin May. And I know some of that is Yankee Stadium home runs, but it's also you're pitching in Yankee Stadium. You know, so did Bello, so did Crochet, so did Giolito prior to that. So he last night, Dustin May goes,
This guy stinks!
4 1/3, 5 runs, all of them earned, 3 home runs. He also walked 3 and only struck out 3. And so combination last night, 2 of the cast-offs from the Dodgers. You start Dustin May, goes 4 1/3. Walker Buehler, now pitching out of the bullpen, goes 2 1/3. He also gives up a couple of runs, and just what wasn't their night. But I also feel like these guys aren't guys you can rely on come playoff time.
And that's an issue. Because
Yes, yeah.
especially when you look at what you gave Walker Buehler and you figured he was going to be a big part of this at the beginning of the season, and now Dustin May is your number 4. You don't know who your number 5 is. I mean, tonight they got Brendan Bernardino as the opener and
opener.
Richard Fitz opening, taking the bulk innings after that, and we'll see what happens with Kyle Harrison.
Yeah, what's up with Harrison, Nick? Where's your Harrison update?
Well, he was actually scratched from his start the other day in case he had to pitch tonight.
So why aren't they starting him tonight, I wonder?
Cora didn't seem really glowing when he was talking about him over the weekend. He basically called him inefficient.
I mean, he got off to a rough start.
He did.
He got a little better.
Yeah, he got off to a real rough start.
That's Nick's department, though.
Yeah, no, that
Kyle
is
Harrison.
the Worcester updates with Nick. He can fill us in on Campbell and whoever else. Although we got the password up here since I've last been up here. We got the password a little bit. Work in progress, obviously.
That's actually what Cora called Kyle Harrison, a work in progress.
Yeah, but isn't that better than an opener? I feel like that's still better than an opener.
Like, especially a guy who pitched last night.
An opener who threw an inning and a third last night. Yeah, 18 pitches last night.
He's only going to throw an inning, you'd imagine.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
I feel like he very rarely has he thrown more than 1 inning when Bernardino opens, because he's done it so much over the last 2 seasons.
But then it is full bullpen game. And I heard Will and Lou on the game last night. This would be sort of best case scenario about Walker Buehler. They were like, could he be this year's version of Nick Pivetta, where a guy is out of the rotation, you put him in the bullpen? Yeah, probably not.
Doesn't look at the start.
No, it doesn't. But Pivetta had some wild relief appearances. Remember, he'd pitch 6 innings and strike out 8, 9
and
guys.
There was that year, 2023, I think, where he was doing both. He'd be a starter 1 week and then be coming out of the bullpen the next. It was just amazing versatility.
Yeah, I don't feel strongly about Buehler.
No.
And I just wonder if they have enough. Steven Matz, the other player they acquired during the deadline, it's been hit and miss with him as well. So there are, on the high end, I think your top 2 starters and your 2 best relievers, you really can't feel a whole lot better about. I'll take my chance. If you know that it's Crochet, Bello, Whitlock, Chapman, I feel like you're winning all those games. Everything else,
I wonder when Tolley figures into this. It seems like they're pretty open about possibly bringing him up, just from listening to Cora and Breslow.
True.
They're not ruling it out. Where, remember when Roman Anthony, when the discussions of possibly bringing him up, it was kind of like a hard no.
Yeah, it's not happening.
Without saying just straight out no. They were kind of just deferring. It seems like they're opening the door, at least with Tolley.
Yeah, and as Merloni's already dubbed him, the Piglet.
That's an awesome nickname.
The Piglet. Oh, I don't want to give it away now, but later on when Bradford joins us, I have a candidate for Haas of the Week that I think people are going to be really excited about. I feel like candidate. We might even just crown him. We might even crown him today.
Already, it's
very
Monday.
excited. Yeah, it's a baseball hoss of the week. But we'll get that with Bradford. Bradford's going to join us from 11 to 1 today and tomorrow. It's a Patriots Monday, so we're going to have Hunter Henry and Christian Ellis on the show. Roster cutdowns to 53 tomorrow by 4 o'clock. So between now and then, I mean, they could be coming out during the show. The roster currently stands at 76.
Right, 76.
I believe. Kyle Duggar still clinging to his life right now. There's no way he's on the team.
It just doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me to move on from Kyle Duggar. I know the contract, and if you can get someone to take the contract, it makes sense. But to me, it just doesn't feel like this team's in the position to be selling off like good football players. That's just the reality of it. Like, same thing with Jennings. Like, they are both good football players. I mean, Duggar might not be what he used to be, but like we saw how bad the depth of this team is against the Giants.
Yeah, there's very little talent. There's very little talent overall on the team. Even though I say that, and then on the other hand, I'm like, I think they're going to win 9 or 10 games. But I think Kyle Duggar, I don't really get it. Like, you're not saving money. That's not really what you're doing.
You have $60 million in
you
cap
have
space.
so much cap space. The morning show was sort of split. They think there's going to be a big trade that happens between now and the start of the season. I would love that to be the case. I just don't know who that would be. I mean, everyone's looking at the 3 big holdouts around the league. I don't know. I don't know if this team, when have they really shown the willingness to both trade a second or a first-round pick and then immediately sign to it a huge contract?
And which of those 3 are actually going to move? I don't see the Commanders letting Terry McLaurin go after the year that Jaden Daniels had last year.
Parsons, you see him taking a snooze on the sideline during the game?
I did see
Yeah,
that.
Schottenheimer was
Did you
so
see him-
thrilled about that.
He's
Did you
taking
see
a
him
little
walking
snooze.
in? He was walking in, and somebody was like, come to the Falcons, and he gave up the little, like, call me sign with his hand.
Yeah,
so he's very open about wanting out. He
I
wrote it on
think
Instagram.
he for
all
sure
over.
wants out. McLaurin, I feel like, is going to stay. I guess I could see Hendrickson going.
I mean, that's a mess with Hendrickson.
Yeah.
Is the guy even in the state?
No.
Like,
That's a mess, but I don't think the Patriots are in on that because he's really good, and I think he's got another couple of years left in him, but he's a little bit older, and that's going to be
and
a
with the
ton
money
of money.
they have tied in with the defense already.
Yeah.
You might want to lean a little bit more towards the offense.
McLaurin's probably the worst player out of those 3, but he's like the biggest need on this
He's also
team.
the oldest. So in terms of if you're looking at just how the contracts will age, and you're not really worried about that, but you have to consider like this team's going to eventually have to pay Drake May.
Yeah.
They're going to have to pay Christian Gonzalez. So that cap space is going to go pretty quickly. So I think it sounds like to me just listening to Vrabel and Wolf that they're going to be active on guys that get cut. Like who can they pick up off waivers?
Scrap heap guys.
I mean, at the point of like where they are in their rebuild, they feel good about the guys they have like in their starting lineup. But you're not going to go from being a bottom 4 roster last year to immediately being like a top 15 roster. And I think people expected that to happen a little bit quicker.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Because you hear like, oh, they might win 8 or 9 games, which sure, they have a good start. They have good players in their starting lineups. But if anything happens, look at the tight ends, for example. Josh McDaniels' offense, you're probably going to see a lot of double tight.
Yeah.
What happens if Hooper or Henry go down?
Scraping.
You got what? Jack Westover?
Yeah,
Like,
Westover. Yeah.
yeah.
guess.
I don't know. It's like you just don't feel great about the depth on this team, which brings you back to the original point. Like, why would you get rid of good players in Duggar and Jennings? It's just.
Yeah, and he doesn't seem like he's a problem either. I could see like a guy who was a longtime starter, has a decent contract, and then you kind of reduce his role, and he's like a big headache, and you're like,
Yeah.
are we gonna? But he playing in the last preseason game in the second half, like he didn't like walk off the field or anything. So
It seems like they're trying to re-drum up the interest with the Rappaport tweet yesterday.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, this the Patriots are shopping Duggar. They felt like he's back to himself.
Yeah,
Like,
you're not
really?
gonna get
He played
it.
into like the fourth quarter of the
he's
third
playing
preseason
behind
game.
the eraser and Jalen Hawkins. Like I don't think his
Yeah.
trade value is very high right now.